Yeah, pause YouTube, 6-Bit Hacks here. Have for you guys today a pretty awesome Pokemon 4 Glory Season 2 video. Now, for those of you who may not follow the P4G YouTube, which a link to that is down below, then you guys do not know that we recently made trades to the Durham Druddigons. Now, if you did see that video, you guys may be a little bit confused as to why I made certain trades that I made, and that's the whole reason of this video, because I didn't want to go into week 3 with you guys asking, oh, why do you not have this Pokemon anymore, and why do you have this instead? Or something like that. So I want to inform you guys before season 3 comes out, not season 3, but before week 3 battle comes out on Saturday, and then the team builders tomorrow, because some of our new mons actually make their debut in week 3, which is going to be live recorded, so just a little heads up for that. But I want you guys to let me know in the comment section below, after you watch this and you see our transactions and you hear my reasoning, what do you think about our 4 new members of the Durham Druddigons? Yes, we got 4 new members. Now, the way that FA picks, free agent picks is, I'm probably just going to refer to them as FA, but free agent picks works is that every coach had 4 FA picks. Essentially what FA picks are is it's all the Pokemon left over once the draft has been finalized and everybody has picked all the Pokemon that they can pick. They have 4 free agent picks, I think, throughout the entire season, or like midway through the season. You can drop 4 mons, pick up 4 mons, as long as you still follow the point system and the tier requirements that you have. For example, I can get a tier 5 Pokemon for a tier 1 Pokemon, so I can undrop something like, if I had I think Stunfisk was like tier 5, so if we had Stunfisk, I can drop Stunfisk and get up like Landers, or pick up Landers, or something like that. So unless the points somehow matched out and I had dropped something else to get back points in order to add up to get that tier 1 pick. So as long as everybody stayed in the point system and the tier system, you're pretty much free reign to do whatever you want. So I know it's a little bit odd to have already used up all 4 of my free agent picks only leading up to week 3. It is really nice to have certain FA picks throughout the season so you can kind of touch up some weaknesses in your teams, but I really felt like these 4 new picks added so much to our draft, because I'm the type of guy that I like to look at my matchups like not every single week, but like, what am I trying to say? Like, you look at them and then look at my team and realize, okay, this may not do that well, this may not do that well, this could have done well, but it's not going to do as well as I had hoped. And that's kind of how I went about making these picks. Also, thank you to the homeboy Shotty for helping me with the finalized picks that I did have. So let's go ahead and dive right into this. If you guys do enjoy this, make sure to hammer that like button down below, and if you're also excited for the newest members of the Durham Druddigons. So this first FA pick kind of struck me right in my little heart, just because the nickname of this Pokemon was after my childhood dog that I had before I moved out. He passed away, and like a year or 2 later, I think I ended up moving out finally, or something like that, or a couple years later. But this dog was brought to us as a puppy, man. I loved him. I remember going for walks with him, and it was really nice to have Suicune, because it reminded me of my dog, because obviously Suicune's a dog, and I named it after the dog that I had, which was OG. I think it was like half pit bull, something along those lines. But just a great loyal dog, and I really loved him. And unfortunately, I decided to trade off Suicune. The way I'm going to be listing off the trades is going to be by tiers, so you guys may get a little spoiler on what potentially will be traded later on. But don't worry, I will be going through all the 4 picks. Now, first off, yeah, Suicune was our Super Saiyan Z user, which can use any C move except for Omni boosting moves. But we have a new one, and I'll get into that later after I show you guys like the final new version of the Durham Druddigons. So Suicune, yes, is an amazing bulky water. Gets Calm Mind, Roar, Z Tailwind would have been pretty awesome, doubling speed and boosting critical hit ratio. Z Rain Dance was something I was really hoping to try out that actually had a pretty decent matchup in a couple games. But the main issue I found with Suicune was that it was basically my bulky water. And to quote Gypsy King, Suicune is one of those Pokemon that you want to build well around, or it's not going to do that well. And that's what I felt I went wrong with Suicune. Yeah, we had wish support on Slurpuff, but I mean, Slurpuff really isn't the best wish passer ever into something as bulky as Suicune. Yeah, Rest Talk Crocoon is really awesome. Vincoon is pretty awesome. Sub Protect, Calm Mind, Scald, that's Vincoon. Just offensive in general would have been pretty good. Assault Vest was also a pretty nice theory in some matchups, but like I said, the main issue I found with Suicune was that it was my main bulky water without it having reliable recovery, and the only other water type I had was Greninja, which obviously has little to no bulk at all. So I really felt like trading Suicune to pick up a more reliable bulky water in the lower tiering system would have been a lot better for us. So while it does suck that I do have to trade Suicune after only using it in one matchup, I really feel like this tier 2 mon really helps us out a lot in certain matchups, and that is going to be Child's Play, the Klefki. Now the cool thing about Klefki is that it gets access to Prankster, it gets Spikes, it gets Light Screen, Reflect, and it also gets Sunny Day and Rain Dance even for some reason I need to use those moves. Just Switcheroo is really good too, Thunder Wave, Toxic. Now yeah, Klefki is kind of passive, but with 80 base attack and 80 base special attack, it does hit decently hard enough to not allow it to be set up on. Like Prankster, Thunder Wave, and T-Wave can also stop a lot of Pokemon from setting up. The awesome thing about Klefki is that it also gave me a secondary steel type, because if you guys remember, the only steel type that we had was Cobalion, which obviously does not resist fairy type moves, and it does still take a lot from psychic type moves as well because it's neutral to them. As where Klefki resists normal type moves, it resists fairies, and it resists psychic type moves as well. I mean, Cobalion resists normal type moves, but you know what I'm trying to say. So that was a really awesome thing I thought about having on Klefki. Plus, it gives us a really awesome spiker. Like, the main thing I liked about Klefki was the fact that it gets Prankster with these 3 specific moves, man. This basically forces my opponents to always need to run a Defogger, which means that takes off the pressure from my Skuntank and from my Mega Aerodactyl and stops them from having to run Defog almost all the time, because I can just force my opponent to run Defog, in which case they will get rid of the hazards that they set up on my side of the field if I start to spike stack them. If they don't have Defog, I just get up a layer of spikes or 3 layers of spikes with Stealth Rocks, and that makes things so much easier for us in this battle. Victini loves spikes, Garchomp loves spikes, Cobalion loves spikes, Mega Aerodactyl especially loves spikes. So I really feel Klefki can provide a lot to our team in general wise team support because of those hazards, because of the dual screens, and even the speed control with Thunder Wave, or being able to Toxic a bulky wall. I think it also gets like Calm Mind if I really wanted to go down that route. Like Calm Mind, Klefki could be a thing. Magnetize is also kind of decent to deal with those certain Pokemon that may only run a mono stab Earthquake that may not have any other type of move to hit Klefki, so then I can spike stack on them or set up on them. So I really feel Klefki is a solid addition to the Durham Druddigons. Plus Klefki is something that I've kind of been wanting to use for a while now, and I'm really hoping to use it properly. So moving on to our second trade that we made is going to be Grenji the Greninja. Now, I'm not gonna lie, this is probably the one trade I was the most kind of iffy about. Yeah, Greninja's good. Like, don't get me wrong, Greninja's really, really good. Like I said, this is the one pick I was kind of iffy about. I was like 70-ish% on this pick. Part of me kind of regrets trading off Greninja, but at the same time, the Pokemon that we got for Greninja in the tier 3 just adds so much more to our team. Yeah, Greninja also got access to spikes, and mainly Toxic Spikes. T-Spikes was actually one of the big factors why I wanted Greninja. Also, it just has so many good coverage type moves, really solid base 95 and 103 physical and special attack respectively, solid 122 speed, and U-turn was also a really awesome pivot move to be able to just gain momentum and get in there and get out. Haze also maybe could have come in handy in some certain matchups, but the main thing with Greninja is that I really felt like it wasn't hitting that hard unless I had always wanted to run like a spec set. Scarfed also in theory could have helped in certain matchups, but the main thing I wanted Greninja for was to spike stack and to be able to just pick off certain Pokemon. But with the team, I really felt that I needed something else than Greninja, because I already have enough fast, hard-hitting Mons if you look at our draft. So I felt like trading off Greninja wouldn't have been bad at all. The only thing with Greninja is, though, I would need to trade it for potentially another Dark type, because while Skuntank is a pretty good Dark type, I don't want it to be my solo Dark type. I want to have a backup Dark type for certain matchups. Plus, this Pokemon that we traded for Greninja, like I said, just adds so much to our draft, and that is going to be Tranquilo the Crocodile. Shouts out to UCO Season 2 people. Now, the awesome benefit of Crocodile is that it gets this one important move right here, Stealth Rocks. Stealth Rocks, having a 4th Stealth Rocker on our draft is absolutely huge. You guys have no idea how huge this is, because if you look at our current 3 Stealth Rockers, Mega Aerodactyl is already a defogger, so I wouldn't want to run something like Stealth Rock Defog Aerodactyl. Cobalion can be an amazing setup mon, or just pivot mon, or wall breaking mon in general, and then Garchomp loves to use Choice Scarf, Rocky Helmet. World Rocky Helmet typically carries Stealth Rocks, but Z-Move is also really good. Setup is really good. Sub SD, Scarf, like I said, isn't bad. Outside of Tank Chomp, there's not really too many that run Stealth Rocks, but the benefit of having another Stealth Rocker on the team is that this allows for those 3 previously mentioned Pokemon to run different sets, and allows them to run an extra coverage move that I can easily use to my advantage in a battle. Not to mention that Crocodile is an amazing dark type because of knockoff. Also, access to Intimidate. I could run Choice Scarf Moxie if I really wanted to. It also gives me another Pursuit Trapper. This is our 3rd Pursuit Trapper. We have Mega Aerodactyl that learns Pursuit, gets boosted by Tough Claws. We have Skuntank that learns Pursuit, and now we have Crocodile, which means if I'm in a matchup where I can get rid of my opponent's Psychics and Ghost types, I literally just come in with Cobalion, click Close Combat, and something is dying every time, essentially. So that was kind of another huge benefit of having Crocodile. Also, it's a ground type, which takes off pressure from my Garchomp, because obviously Garchomp being 4 times weak to ice can be beat by electric types to an extent because of that 4 times weakness to Hidden Power Ice. Crocodile is not 4 times weak to ice. It can chew up Hidden Power Ices like they're nothing and still be able to pivot into those electric types and stop them from just really Volt Switching, or if they're locked into whatever move, that gives me a free switch to potentially Pursuit Trap them and knock them out, or get off very needed chip damage. So I was really happy to have Crocodile on this draft. It also does pair up really well with the rest of the team, I feel like. Yes, it is another ice weakness, but that ice weakness is patched up by Klefki to an extent. While it may not have reliable recovery, and while it may not be as fast as Greninja or have U-turn, it still just adds a really solid bulky mon, a bulky dark and ground type, another Stealth Rocker, Pursuit Trapper, and most importantly, knockoff user. Stealth Rocks and knockoff are like the 2 best things about Crocodile. Intimidate can also, actually Intimidate or Pursuit, I think, are tied for 3rd best thing about Crocodile. But Crocodile is just an amazing Pokemon, man. Base 117 attack is solid, 95 HP is great, dude. Like, Crocodile can easily run a tank set and still do just so much to and for the team. So moving on to our 3rd FA pick. You guys may have saw the Klefki, right? So obviously with us having Fairy type again, I unfortunately did not need Slurpuff, and this is another one, man, that I was just so upset about, because I was really hoping to use Slurpuff, man. I was really hoping to just sweep people with this thing, like Calm Mind, Cotton Guard with Unburden, or like Belly Drum with Unburden. But like I said, like looking at certain matchups, my opponent could easily prep around it or bring things to stop it, and that's not really what I wanted for Slurpuff to happen. Maybe if I had drafted better around it. Slurpuff wasn't originally going to be one of the Pokemon I was going to pick until it came down to the later rounds, and then I picked up Slurpuff. So maybe in the future draft, I'll build better around it. That way, I can get more use out of it. So with us having Klefki, I didn't feel the need that we had to keep Slurpuff. Yeah, Slurpuff also did get Heal Bell and get access to Wish, which could have been pretty nice for the team, but it's just, I really didn't see it doing entirely too much damage. As a bulky fairy, it's not that good of a bulky fairy, but at the same time, it's not a bad bulky fairy. Like, Klefki is also a pretty decent fairy type, and they kind of have the same amount of bulk. They do different roles, but with Klefki, I feel like it added just so much more support to the team. As where Klefki, I would have to find an opportune moment to bring it in and try and set up, or if it was a bulky fairy type, it wasn't taking hits entirely too well. Like, it was taking them decently, but not too well to the point where I was really proud of it. So I decided to trade this off to get a bulky water in the tier 4 along with this Slurpuff, and that is going to be a Pokemon that I know my boy Skyrander absolutely loves, and that is going to be Julio the Jellicent. I'm actually really excited to have Jellicent. Jellicent is now our new dedicated bulky water, and the main thing about Jellicent is that it's a bulky water with recover. That is the huge plus of Jellicent. It also gets some pretty decent coverage moves like Energy Ball, Dazzling Gleam, Will-O-Wisp, not a coverage move, but it's really nice. Ice Beam, Icy Wind is also really good. Sludge Bomb, Sludge Wave, it gets Trick, it gets Taunt, Taunt's really good. It also has pretty decent speed and base 60, like a fast taunting Jellicent can definitely shut down a lot of things, but like I said, the main thing about Jellicent was that it was a bulky water with reliable recovery, and that's what I felt I really needed. That's why I felt like I wasn't using Suicune properly and I didn't build around it properly, because it was my main bulky water, which means it could easily just come in and get worn down by my opponent, and then after a couple hits I'm just like, well, what am I gonna do? I can rest. Then that gives them 2 free turns to just abuse me and potentially sit up on me. With Jellicent though, having recover allows me to recover off that damage and gain back HP. It also lets me not have to run leftovers all the time on Jellicent, because Colbur Berry is really good, Wakam Berry is really good. What's the grass weakening berry? I don't think it's Tango Berry. But Beer Berry is steel type. I don't know, but like the grass weakening berry, the ghost type weakening berry, and just essentially it lets me not need to run leftovers every time, so I can run a certain berry if I need this to chew a hit from a certain Pokemon, and then come in and I can then recover off the damage and then go from there. And like I said, also having such good coverage moves, man. This thing can surprise so many Pokemon and deal a lot of damage coming off of base 85 special attack, solid HP with 100 defense. Actually, base 70 defense really isn't that bad, and then a base 105 Spadef is also a solid plus. This also gives me a ghost type to pair along with my Klefki to stop my opponents from rapid spinning, so that's another huge plus. This is a bulky ghost and a bulky water tied into one to stop my opponent from trying to rapid spin away my hazards if I want to spike stack them. So really happy to have Jellicent on the squad. So that is our 3rd newest member. Moving on to the final newest member of the Durham Druddigons. Now, this next pick, I was actually, I guess, not too upset about this pick, but I was hoping to really use this last Pokemon, but it's just having Jellicent and having Klefki already, being a bulky ghost type and having a priority spiker meant that I honestly really didn't need Frost Slash. You guys didn't see the Pokemon there. You guys didn't see that. So it does really suck that I had to trade off Frost Slash, because Frost Slash did have a lot of awesome benefits. Destiny Bond was really cool. Ice Shard could have been pretty nice. Like a Scarf or a Spec Set could have maybe come in handy in like certain matchups. But the main thing about Frost Slash was that I only drafted it because it was a secondary ghost type in the first place. I originally wanted him as Magius, and it didn't come to me because it got picked the same round. So that's why I went with Frost Slash. Yeah, it gave me a spiker, but by filling that role with Klefki, I can easily trade off Frost Slash for another spiker in the tier 4 that is just about the same as Frost Slash, being just a speedy spiker, and it can also hit a little bit harder, and it also has momentum, and that is going to be Tiptoes the Excelgor. Excelgor gets access to spikes, it gets U-turn, a base 100 special attack, insane 145 speed. Like, this thing is so fast, it can easily just run Modest, and it's still faster than a timid max speed Frost Slash, as you can see. So that was a really good thing about Excelgor here. Yeah, I guess Frost Slash has a little better bulk but it's not really the best Pokemon to stop rapid spins, and I didn't want to have two ghost types overlapping. So with Jellicent being our new bulky rapid spinner, I can easily trade off Frostlass to be able to get Excelgor, because that still gives me a secondary spiker that can come in and pressure my opponents if I really wanted to. In some matchups, I can bring Klefki and Excelgor, and then my opponents may think, oh, he's got spikes on Klefki, so they're not going to expect me to have spikes on Excelgor as well, or have spikes on Excelgor and not have spikes on Klefki. So that's kind of some mind games I could play. It also gets access to Baton Pass, which is pretty cool because it gets agility, it gets curse, I'm pretty sure. Well, obviously you can't pass agility speed boost with other boosting stats, but like maybe a Baton Pass curse set or a Baton Pass agility set could come in handy. Encore is really nice. Water Shuriken is also kind of cool because that gives us a little form of priority. It gets Pursuit. I don't think I'll ever run Pursuit Excelgor, but it gives us another Pursuit Trapper. Final Gambit could be pretty nice because base 80 HP is not bad at all. It gets access to some pretty nice coverage moves in Giga Drain. It gets Focus Blast, Sludge Bomb. Like I said, U-Turn is really good. Actually, Baton Pass Acid Armor too could be a thing since it gets Recover, so I could run like just a really bulky Excelgor with Acid Armor, Baton Pass, and Recover, and then Baton Pass it to something that could set up like Garchomp or Cobalion or something along those lines. But yeah, guys, those are the 4 new members of the Durham Druddigons. Let me show you guys this real quick. Yeah, so here, this is the old version of the Durham Druddigons here. Hold on. No, there we go. This is the old version right here, and then this is the new version. So as you can see, I think we may have gained 1 extra fire weakness, but that's not entirely too bad. Like Jellicent having recovery is really good. Aerodactyl has recovery. Garchomp is Garchomp. It's a fucking Dawn, so I'm not worried about that. And then Victini, obviously. I want to say that we may have lost a ground weakness. Klefki, Raichu, Skuntank, Cobalion, Raichu, Skuntank, Cobalion. No, okay, so we may have gained a ground weakness, but honestly, ground types really aren't even that big of a problem with Tangrowth, Aerodactyl, and kind of Excelgor to an extent. We gained, most importantly, a 4th Stealth Rocker and secondary ground type to deal with those pesky electric types that could otherwise kind of proved to be a problem if played well. This also just lets me do so much more with Aerodactyl, Cobalion, and Garchomp because I can just run rocks on Krookodile. Krookodile is probably one of the best and most reliable Stealth Rockers in Draft League just because of its great natural bulk and it having a really solid speed set. Also, having Taunt is a huge plus, and then having a really good knockoff Pokemon is another huge plus because I cannot get rid of items. Yeah, knockoff on Tangrowth is pretty good too, but having stab with knockoff is way different than having just non-stab knockoff because that makes knockoff even more dangerous on Krookodile. It also gives us a really solid Scarfer with Moxie as well. Klefki gives us dual screens for SD Chomp, Hone Claws, Aerodactyl, Nasty Plot Cobalion, Nasty Plot Raichu, Double Dance Cobalion with Z moves, man. I'm really happy to have Klefki. Priority Spikes is always good. We have much better speed control now with Klefki, which is a huge plus as well. We do lose a bit of speed by dropping Greninja and by dropping... just by dropping Greninja, and I guess Slurpuff to an extent, because Slurpuff with Unburden, but we kind of patched that up with Excelgor's blistering base 125 speed, which is really awesome, because again, it can just run Modest and still just do so much work. So yeah, guys, those are our 4 trades, and our new Super Saiyan Zmon, our new Zmon that can use any and every Z move that is not an Omni boosting Z move is going to be Vicente the Victini. Yeah, I originally was not a fan of Z move Victini, but the more I thought about it, the more I was like, well, there's certain matchups where I don't really want to have like Life Orb on Victini, or I don't want to have like a Specs just to do more damage. By having Z move on Victini, that allows me to get that 1 extra like super powered hit off on a Pokemon that I need to take down. And it can also bluff a Choice Scarf set. It also takes less damage from knockoff because you can't knock off Z items. So that's really awesome. I'm really excited to try out Z Victini. Get Z Trick, man. Z Sunny Day even. I think like Z Roleplay can also be used for something. So there's a lot of different things that any Z move Mon Victini can do. So I'm really excited about that. But yeah, guys, that is going to be the video. I got a Wi-Fi battle going up later today, but let me know in the comment section below if you agree with these trades. Do you not like these trades? Do you love these trades? What do you expect from these trades? Am I an idiot for making these trades? I don't know. Let me know. The only one trade I still kind of regret is getting rid of Greninja, just because I was kind of like 60-70% sure I wanted to trade it, but just being able to, man, Crocodile I really think is just such an amazing Pokemon, man, and it honestly just adds so much to our draft. So I'm happy with it, but at the same time I kind of wish I had kept Greninja, but we'll see how it goes. I really hope Crocodile puts in some work, and like I said, some of these new Mons will be making their debut on week 3, so be on the lookout for that. Team building video for week 3 is going to be going up tomorrow, and then week 3 match is going to be going up on Saturday. So yeah, guys, that is all I got to say. Let me know again what you think of this, and hammer that like button down below. I'll see you guys later today. So yeah, later, everybody.
Cause my brain and heart are both tied in the knot, and this hinders me from crying a lot. This causing me to show no emotion. But when I said I cared, I wasn't joking. But I guess it's too late for me to become broken. For now, I'm living with no more pain, tears, or hoping. I'm just coasting. Yeah, I said I'm coasting. No more pain, tears, and hoping. For real.